Miss Higby here, and I am coming to you from my garden today to read you the next chapter of The Royal Rabbits of London, The Hunt for the Golden Carrot. So, on the last chapter that we left off, Shiloh had arrived home in the burrow and he finally got to see his mother, and we met a new character as well, and there was something a bit strange going on in the warren, so let's dive straight in and find out what happens next. Chapter 6. It was lunchtime when Shiloh's siblings, Wilton, Willow, Erica and Louis, arrived home to find their brother in the kitchen, and without Maximilian there to encourage them to tease Shiloh, they threw their arms around their little brother and told him how much they missed him, which they secretly had quite a lot. "Mother told us you went to make your own way in the world," said Erica. "Where did you go?" "Have you been on an adventure?" asked Wilton. "Why did you stay away so long?" inquired Willow. Louis looked a little sheepish, and his grey ears drooped anxiously. "Was it because we were unkind to you?" Shiloh sat down at the table and showed them his red paw. "I've been working on a beetroot farm," he explained, remembering what Beldapaw had told him. The 4 rabbits peered at it curiously. Shiloh continued. "It's quiet there, and the other rabbits were very friendly, but I missed all of you." And he looked from one to the other and realised that he truly had. "I had 7 days leave and wanted to surprise you." Shiloh really was very happy to be home. He ate 2 whole bowls of corn and barley stew and told his siblings made-up stories about the beetroot farm. He longed to tell them about his real adventures with the Royal Rabbits of London, how he'd saved the Queen from 2 plots, foiled the vile Ratsies, escaped from Rat Central at the very top of the tallest building in London, and found the stolen Siberian diamond, the biggest diamond in the world. How he wished he could tell them that. Shiloh was enjoying the warm feeling of belonging when he heard voices coming down from the tunnel. It was Maximilian and Elvira. The niggle in Shiloh's the niggle in Shiloh's belly grew stronger. He knew for sure that it wasn't hunger. There's a little spider on my book. Can you see it? I found a friend. Maximilian hopped into the burrow and Shiloh stared at him in amazement. He hadn't noticed earlier because Maximilian had been further away, but now, up close, his brother looked very different. He had piercings all the way up and down his ears and one big silver ring through his nose. He had shaved his fur very short and was wearing a grubby shirt that Shiloh didn't recognise. Elvira had also pierced her ears and had painted an excessive amount of black charcoal round her eyes, which made her look strange. In fact, the 2 of them looked very peculiar indeed. Why, they looked just like Harlequin, Shiloh thought. He shuddered as Maximilian approached with his usual swagger, smirk, and his air of menace. Some things, it seemed, didn't change. "Well, well, well, look what the cat dragged in," he sang. He sauntered over to Shiloh, took his red eye patch in his paw, and pulled it hard. Shiloh gasped. He stared in horror as Maximilian opened his big mouth and laughed, then let go of the patch and watched it snap back, slapping Shiloh painfully on the eye. Shiloh yelped. He put a paw over his face and his siblings laughed, just like they always had. How could a Royal Rabbit of London, a brave knight of the crown, a spy of the rabbit rules of secret craft, allow this to happen and do nothing to stop it? How was it that, after all he'd been through in London, he was unable to stand up for himself here? His eyes stung with disappointment and frustration that Maximilian still had that kind of power over him. "Maximilian, Harlequin wouldn't like to see you do that. He's a peace-loving magic rabbit. Didn't he say we have to love each other?" said Elvira sharply. "Oh yes, and if we obey him, we'll be happy magic rabbits," replied Maximilian, a bit sheepishly. He ruffled the fur between Shiloh's ears. "Sorry, bro. I didn't mean to hurt you. It was just a joke." He laughed again. You're meant to laugh too. Where's your sense of humour? But Shiloh couldn't laugh. He wanted to cry. So what happened to you, Shiloh? Where did you go? Elvira asked. Shiloh felt very small beside his two big, strong, glossy siblings. He didn't feel like a royal rabbit anymore. He felt like a coward. It was as if everything he had achieved in London had never happened. And there is Shiloh with his brother and sister, Elvira and Maximilian, and you can see they've got lots of piercings in their ears. He's been working on a beetroot farm, said Wilton. Look at his paw, it's red. But Elvira and Maximilian weren't interested in Shiloh's red paw. In fact, they weren't really interested in him at all. They only wanted to talk about Harlequin. Harlequin has the most beautiful voice, cooed Elvira with admiration when she was sure her mother wasn't listening. Louis glanced at Wilton and rolled his eyes. They were bored of hearing about Harlequin, but Maximilian was keen to show off to Shiloh. If you're lucky, he said, Harlequin lets you sit close to him so you can hear him better. Are you allowed to sit close to him? Asked Shiloh. Well, no, replied Maximilian, shuffling uncomfortably. Not yet, but I will be, I know it. I mean, he's sure to pick me, isn't he? I'm bigger and stronger than all the other rabbits, after all. The rabbits in Harlequin's inner circle are called golden rabbits, Elvira added. They're the only rabbits allowed into his tent. They're special. They go on secret missions, but we don't know what those are exactly. They're just secret and, well, special. She sighed and put her paw over her heart. Harlequin says he's going to rule the world and bring back the great rabbit empire, and if we follow him, we'll share his magic, and those who don't will be our slaves. Shiloh thought that sounded completely ridiculous, and was surprised Elvira and Maximilian believed it. What kind of magic? He asked. That's secret, said Maximilian, smirking. Sorry, bro. Unless you're in, you're out. And if you're out, you can't know any secrets. He shrugged and hopped into the kitchen. What's for lunch, Mother? I'm hungry. Shiloh turned to Elvira and frowned. You don't really believe that rubbish, do you? He said. Elvira's face twitched with irritation. Harlequin is trying to find the golden carrot, Shiloh, she hissed crossly. And when he does, he's going to be the most powerful rabbit in the whole world. Shiloh's ears stood to attention. He knew all about the legend of the golden carrot from one of the dusty old books he used to read in Horatio's burrow. But before he could ask Elvira for more information, she had hopped off to join Maximilian at the table. Shiloh needed to investigate. It was his royal rabbit duty. He looked down at the red badge on his paw and lifted his chin. Maximilian might be strong and athletic, but he wasn't very smart. Shiloh was clever. He knew that. And it was the one thing that gave him confidence. He'd get to the bottom of what Harlequin was planning. Later that afternoon, he managed to get some time alone with Maximilian and Elvira. He sidled up to them and whispered in a soft voice so no one else could hear, I'd like to meet Harlequin properly. Maximilian smirked. I knew you were interested, and I know why. You think that Harlequin can use his magic to stop you being a scrawny, pathetic little disappointment. Well, he can, if you believe in him. Peasy the Weasel was once like you, and now he's as brave as a bull, thanks to Harlequin. Harlequin will give you the world if you join him, added Elvira. He invites rabbits from all over the globe to join him. Everyone's welcome. Come with us tomorrow, and we'll introduce you. You don't look like much, but Harlequin loves everyone just as they are. He loves us all. She put a paw on Shiloh's shoulder. Don't tell Mother we're taking you, though, or you'll get us into trouble. That night, Shiloh's mother made a feast. There were all sorts of delicious things to eat, and no one prepared them like Mrs. Tawnytail. Celery and cabbage wraps, carrot and mint dips, pumpkin and sweet potato crispies, all washed down with root and ginger snifter, which was the special drink that Shiloh's grandmother created. and only Shiloh's mother knew how to make. The food in the Grand Burrow was good, but it was nothing like his mother's. Shiloh gobbled it all up with relish, slurped the snifters greedily, and realised how much he'd missed it all. Word had got out that Shiloh had returned, and gradually rabbits from all over the warren came to see him, out of curiosity more than affection. Shiloh had always been a loner. "He's changed," they whispered to each other. "He's got an air of adventure about him," they said. Shiloh knew that he had changed too. Feeling like an outsider was normal for the little bumpkin, though now he didn't feel different because he was weak and small, but because he'd seen things and had adventures that the country rabbits of the warren could only dream of. His experience of the world had grown, and his understanding of rabbit nature had too. He knew he wasn't the same Shiloh who had left in the spring. He was happy to be back, but was surprised that his burrow and their little corner of the forest looked smaller to him now. He thought of his friends in the Grand Burrow and realised how much he loved being part of their group, how proud he was to be a royal rabbit, and how much satisfaction he got from being a valued member of the team. That night, Shiloh snuggled up in his old bed, and his mother kissed him tenderly, as she always used to do, before he went to sleep, and for a moment he felt like a kitten again, safe and secure. He wrapped his arms around her and nuzzled against her. She smelled of home and everything he loved about it. But once she was gone and he was alone, he felt strange again. It was as if he'd outgrown his old life. He was no longer a kitten, but a grown rabbit still trying to fit into his kitten things. He closed his eyes, but frightening thoughts invaded his mind. Harlequin was taking over the forest, which was filled with flickering lights, dancing shadows, strange voices and eerie songs as more followers arrived. Rabbits young and old were all chanting, "The golden carrot is coming. It's here. It's time. Feel the magic ragic." When Shiloh finally found sleep, it was troubled and fretful. And that is the end of chapter 6. So we found out then about the myth, the legend of the golden carrot and Harlequin's mission to find it and become the most powerful rabbit in the world. Something doesn't quite sit right here, so I wonder what Shiloh is going to plan to do. Come back tomorrow for chapter 7. I hope that you are enjoying the Royal Rabbits of London book 4. Make sure that you subscribe and like and share this video so that as many children as possible can enjoy it. I hope that you're all safe and well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.